Are you ready to enter the magical world of comics and draw them together with us? Take a look at these images. How many of these characters do you recognize? Certainly, many of them already make up a part of your life. We're sure that if you follow our course, soon enough you'll be able to draw these characters yourself.
In the next 10 lessons that make up this course, there will be many topics that we will study together. We will begin by learning how to compose basic shapes. Then we'll speak briefly about perspective. A large part of the course will be dedicated to studying the anatomy of comic strip characters. We'll also have some fun drawing different somatic types. After we have taught you to draw with skill, we'll show you the techniques for inking. Then we'll move on into the world of color and demonstrate to you the most exciting coloring techniques. We'll also talk to you about the special language used in comic strips, from balloons to visual metaphors and even onomatopoeia. The lessons will be taught clearly, cheerfully, and will be full of surprises.
Your work environment should be quiet and efficient. Lighting plays a fundamental role. Natural light is best. If artificial light is used, don't point it into your eyes. Instead, place it on the side opposite your drawing hand. This way you won't get shadows on your paper. When drawing, it is very important to be seated comfortably using this type of chair. The drawing table should be an inclined plane, which permits you to work with your spinal cord in the correct position. It also allows you to see your drawing perfectly.
The pencil is your most basic tool. There are different types: soft, B to 2B, medium, HB, hard, H to 2H. The type of pencil you use is a personal choice. Try all of them, then decide according to your needs. The point should always be perfect, so you'll need a pencil sharpener like the ones shown here. Drawing means erasing. The eraser is very important. It should be one of good quality. Kneaded rubber is the best to use. It is excellent for quick erasing pencil marks from the paper.
Now, starting with simple concepts, you'll begin learning how to draw. Look at this rabbit. The artist made this shape by drawing a few lines. In drawing, the line is fundamental. As a matter of fact, every single picture is made up of different types of lines. Thanks to them, we can create images that range from the simple to the complex.
But what is a line? A line is nothing more than a series of dots, lined up one after another. A concave line can form a circle. Straight lines form a triangle. A square. Or a rectangle. These geometric shapes that we're looking at are called planes. In reality, however, they really don't exist. They are purely abstract concepts.
If we look around, we can see that all objects have one definite characteristic. They have volume, or 3 dimensions. The volume of any object, however, is always related to a geometrical plane figure. For example, if a circle rotates on its own diameter, it becomes a sphere. The square becomes a cube. In fact, if we put 6 squares side by side in this order, we get a geometric shape. Instead, the triangle gives us 2 possibilities. One is the pyramid. But if we rotate the triangle on its height, we get a cone. Like the cube, by putting rectangles side by side, we get a parallelepiped. If we rotate a rectangle around on its side, we form a cylinder. All the objects around us have shapes that can bring to mind these geometric forms.
Using what we've just said as a basis, let's move on to drawing objects that have geometric shapes similar to those shown in the video. We spoke first of the circle and the sphere. This is a perfect geometric shape which, in nature, is actually hard to find. It could be a marble, a bowling ball, or a soccer ball. But an apple can also remind us of this volume. This is the example we've chosen for you to copy. Of course, it's a bit squashed on the top and bottom. Let's add 2 short lines to make the stem. To finish, let's make some rounded lines to make the apple seem even rounder. Now here's a simple panel inspired by the drawing we've just finished.
A triangle is a pyramid. The first image that comes to mind is certainly an Egyptian pyramid. It's easy to draw since the lines that make it up are elementary. To finish the picture and to make the pyramid lively and more realistic, we can place a nice palm tree next to it. Taking advantage of this scene, we can imagine an exotic comic strip.
Let's move on to the square and cube. Many objects around us have this shape. Take a dice, for example. Even here we're dealing with a basic shape. Let's draw some circles on the inside of these three sides. These shapes that we have already talked about can indicate the dice's relative numbers. Have some fun trying to imagine other pictures you can make using the shapes of two dice.
Now we have a cylinder, the shape of something really fun. A garbage can. This is an object we see quite often in comics. It's usually dented and its lid is usually on crooked. Sometimes we even see some trash, like fish bones falling out. Here we can really let our imaginations run wild for a strip.
The last shape we're going to talk about is the cone. The first thing we imagine drawing is an ice cream cone. To complete this drawing, let's add 3 spheres to the top: vanilla, chocolate, and pistachio ice cream. Look at this drawing very closely. It's actually a conical shape turned upside down. The ice cream cone in this last panel is really easy to draw.
Thanks to this last example, we've learned that all volumes should be imagined in every single position they can take.
In our everyday surroundings, it's hard to find pure basic forms. It's easier, though, to find them combined with each other. Let's try to draw some of them. We'll begin with one that's easy to do, a chair. A chair is made up of a series of the same basic forms. These forms are parallelepipeds of different sizes. To make the drawing correctly, your pencil strokes should be light. A chair is drawn like this. First, the seat. Then the back. And finally the legs. Now that the basic structure has been sketched, thanks to the combining of different basic forms, pencil over the entire drawing, this time using heavier strokes. Your first drawing was an outline. As you can see, drawing a chair is easier than you thought.
Second example, a jug. A jug is made up of two different basic forms, a sphere and an upside-down cone. First, draw the sphere. After, place a section of the upside-down cone on the sphere. Now that you've done this, you can shape the outline.
Third example, a truck. This is another object made up of different basic forms. Here, the forms are parallelepipeds and cylinders. First, draw one parallelepiped for the back of the truck. Then draw two other parallelepipeds for the driver's cabin. Now, add the cylinders to make the wheels. We now have finished a truck.
Fourth example, a bottle. A bottle is made up of three basic forms, two cylinders and one circle. To make the structure of the bottle, first draw a cylinder. Next, sketch a sphere on top of the cylinder. Then, place another cylinder smaller than the one you've already drawn over the sphere. To finish your drawing, shape out the outline to make a form of a bottle.
The fifth example is similar to the fourth, a glass. A glass is made up of three basic forms. It is the combination of a cone, a cylinder, and a half sphere. It's quick to outline and quick to finish. Here is the result.
The sixth and last example, a house. A house is made up of two basic forms, a cube and the top of a pyramid. Make the structure of the house by drawing a cube. This will be the walls. Place the upper part of the pyramid on top of the cube to make the roof. Now, all you have to do is add some rectangles to make a door and some windows. Pencil over your drawing again, and your house is finished. Let's see what's on the inside of this room.
Let's move on to a more complicated form, the human figure. Drawing the human figure should be seen as if the body were an object. To demonstrate this, we chose a fitting character, Pinocchio. He is an excellent example of how basic forms are put together to perfectly recreate a shape. Now let's draw Pinocchio. As we've already seen, the first phase is to sketch the body's outline. Which pencil should we use? The harder ones like H or HB are advisable. Let's begin with the head. His face is really a sphere. His neck, a thin cylinder. His hat, a cone. Another cone, this one thinner, makes for his famous nose. Now for the details. Place two ovals together for the eyes. Do the same for the pupils. Draw a simple, curved line for the lips, and do the same for the eyebrows. Now let's move on to the body. The body is made up of a combination of many different-sized parallelepipeds. First make the trunk, then the arms, legs, hands and feet. Here we have Pinocchio's basic structure. Second phase. In this phase, we finalize the drawing. That is, we pencil over our first sketch. To pencil over a sketch, you should use a pencil that leaves a darker line. In this case, use a soft pencil like B or 2B. Observe closely how the artist carries out this drawing. is a finished version of Pinocchio.
Now let's look at this picture that we are covering with transparent celluloid paper. Thanks to the superimposition and the help of a felt tip pen, we can single out the structural lines of every object. Keep in mind that we are singling out only the geometric shapes of these objects, without taking into consideration the picture's perspective. All of the things that we are pointing out were placed in a well-determined three-dimensional space and follow the rules of perspective. We'll talk more about perspective in the next lesson. Now let's cut the celluloid paper and glue it to a white sheet of paper. By doing this, we can better understand how the drawing was made. Let's repeat the process using another panel. Again, the artist is retracing the lines of the various objects scattered throughout this trailer. Now we can see every object's geometrical shape. After removing the celluloid and gluing it to a sheet of white paper, we can confront it with the original drawing. Here we see how the objects were composed.